Here we go. Had myself on mute there. What's up? What's up? What's up? Good to see you people out there. Thank you for joining us this evening. If it is 9 o'clock on a Friday night, it must be time for the OHalloRANT. I am your host, Brian O'Halloran. Thank you for taking some time out of your Easter weekend. Happy Good Friday for those who celebrate the passing of the Christ child. I don't know why they ever call it Good Friday. That definitely wasn't a good day for him. But I guess it's good that he died for our sins. You know what they say. How else are you going to sell the jewelry, right? You got to do something. He made his mark. And he made his mark in a big way. And I'm already being asked,
are you even supposed to be here today? Don't get me started.
Yes, don't get me started. So it's a fun weekend this weekend, I guess, in general. First off, in the news today, craziness at the Capitol. My condolences to the U.S. Capitol Police and the family of the officer who succumbed to his wounds from an incident at the gate near Congress. People are getting way out of hand with this. You make changes by voting. You make changes by lobbying your local representatives and your state representatives and your national representatives. You just can't try to take the law into your own hands. If that was the case, who knows? Still investigating. So anyway, so that was that today, first off. Secondly, my condolences to the many Mets fans out there who thought we were having opening day, and then they were like, nope. The guys from DC, they's infected with the COVID, so we can't play opening day at Citi Field for the Mets opening day. So then it was like, okay, so opening day will be Saturday. And then today it was like, nope. We got 5 players. I think it's 5 when I last checked who have tested positive. So not a good start. Not a good start for anything involving Washington, D.C. So look out, Wizards and Capitals. Just saying, something's going down in D.C. and you don't want to be there when it does. So we're going to have to open up the season against the Phillies. The Mets are. I say we, like I'm part owner or something. I am not. I'm just a fan. But just like most fandom is, they're my team. that I support. We're going to win. We're going to get you. I love it. So in the meantime, I have hockey. I'm good. So it'd be interesting, because I always, the friends of mine who know that I'm an active Mets fan, usually this time of year, I get that GIF from Family Guy, that GIF file of Stewie sitting in the stands with his hat, and now it's the opening day here for the Mets, and first pitch, and the season's over. I get it. I get it. I understand. That is definitely what's kind of crazy is that they're having fun with me, and I get it. We have every right to be made fun of over the years. But I think it's a new era. It's a new owner. He's got some cash to throw around. Signed Lindor for 10 years and 365 days a week. I don't know, like millions of dollars every day, whatever it is. But, if he can turn out what he's being paid, that's going to be awesome. And I think our lineup is good. And I think it should be an interesting season. We shall see. We'll have to wait until Monday against the Phillies, which, to be honest with you, that's a good way to start. The Nationals, but the Phillies is always it's a heated rivalry. It'll be fun to see that. Since it is Good Friday, I was like, I should wear something that kind of evokes some sort of religious kind of connotation. So it's like a stained glass window shirt of Spock. Here you go. The LLAP, of course, live long and prosper. And all the great phrases I have my Mirror episode Spock, which I got from the good folks over at Haven for Heroes. They're in Port Jervis. I know they're frequent watchers of the show. I'm already hearing it from people already. Lindor was a huge mistake. Well, we shall see. The ink hasn't even been dried yet. The first pitch hasn't even been thrown against him or hit in his direction. So we shall see. It's not like he's a Bobby Bonilla who is still, to this day, gets paid once a year. Smartest deal ever in the history of sports deals is that Bobby Bonilla deal. Genius deal. Gotta love it. So I hope you guys have had a good week since we last spoke. I hope you've been able to get out. Some of the areas of the country are now starting to warm up, so people are going out more. I see the CDC has put out some new recommendations and guidelines, shall we speak, on vaccinated people being able to allow to travel. So that's good. I have yet to qualify in my state to get the vaccine. Hoping, waiting, looking forward to it when it does. And hopefully, because I'll be traveling soon. I'll be talking about that probably a little bit later. I'll be traveling in the next couple of weeks, heading down to the Mississippi Gulf Coast area for a couple appearances, because that's happening. But, I wear my masks. I have this clear shield called a View Shield now. So I'll do that in the meantime. But I'm hoping, in the next couple of weeks, I think here in the Pennsylvania area, I think within like 2 weeks, it's like everybody becomes available for it. So that's good. So no guests tonight. My apologies if you were hoping to hear someone else speaking beside myself. But I got a good topic. I don't know if anybody saw, but it's the show's entitled Apes and Kaijus, which can only mean one thing. Yes, I did watch Godzilla versus Kong last night. And I I said it on Twitter earlier today. I tweeted out that, let me just bring it up. It'd be easier than me trying to figure out what I said. I tweeted out, which pretty much sums up how I felt about it. Here we go. Anytime now. What's going on? Here we go. Here we go. Watched Godzilla vs. Kong last night. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic CGI rampage. I mean, pretty much it was. Pretty much like the old school video game Rampage. I mean, seriously, if you're there for a plot, what? It's like going to watch porn for the storyline. No, the name is in the title, Godzilla versus Kong. That's it. That's all you need to know that needs to happen. You get that through me, I'm good. So I said, pretty much like the video game Rampage, check the plot at the door and let the battle begin. Which, kudos, man. Kudos to all the CGI artists, the thousands and thousands and thousands of artists that are now putting these movies together, which you see them. You see them when they, when they're putting the credits up, you're just seeing just this team and this team from this company and this team. And there was so much, because it's not just simply, I'm going to put this bunch of fake spaceships here or fake space people there. I mean, this was, let's build an entire CGI cities and world and creatures, have them battle and destroy that CGI world. And it was a good time, definitely. So I enjoyed it. The plot was a little thin. I'm sorry. But hey, it is what it is. If you're going there for a plot, you're going to be slightly disappointed. There's no thought-provoking science behind it. I'm just going to say one name that I was just like, that was just silly. And that is Jane Goodall. That's all I'm saying. There is a Jane Goodall aspect to this that I was like, what? This wasn't needed. By the way, I love Jane Goodall and all the work that she's done in trying to protect the environment and the planet in general. But yeah, there was some things that was just like, okay, didn't need it. Acting all around, terrific. Everybody was terrific. There's a young girl in this. She was fantastic. Everybody who was in it, really good. Whatever material they were given, they put it forth in the best acting ability they could. So that I get. But some of it was just, wow, awesome. And it just totally reminded me of the game Rampage. The first iteration of Rampage. I know Rampage went on to do many different versions of the game. And then they even spawned a movie, I think it was 2012, 2015, where it was like a white, almost like an albino ape rampaging and stuff. I think The Rock was in it. I don't know. Something like that. Anyway. So first of all, let me give a big shout out to everybody who's been joining us. Mr. Scott Schiaffo, Mr. CJ Cullen, Mr. David Madison, Beers, good to see you, Mr. Anthony Fraschetti, Danger Girl AC, hope you've recovered from your last week's birthday weekend. Who do we got else? We have Punk Rock Vox, good to see you as well. Red Dog 865, Chad Them, Cody Ryan, Net Feelinger, good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Trey Mock, good to see you. And Mississippi Tom, let's can't wait to see you in the next couple of weeks, Mississippi Tom. Alan LeGros from the great country of Canada, good to have you. Larry Lane, thank you for joining us. Josh McManus, Christopher Hewitt hasn't missed a show yet. He is thorough. Jim Girl 1975, a very close behind. And the Mad Brothers Media following as well. Salutations to you, good sirs. Rome 77, thank you for joining us. Backward Bloom 80 as well. So Gem Girl says, had my second Pfizer shot yesterday. Congratulations, Gem Girl. Now you just wait, like I think it's another week or so, week or two, and you're back to licking doorknobs or whatever the hell people want to do. Kidding. Don't be licking doorknobs. I don't want to get, no, that's not, you shouldn't be doing it anyway. You shouldn't be licking like freshly cleaned, straight out of Lysol. Like, no, don't lick doorknobs. It's just stupid, Bri. Anyway, you'll be able to go out there and enjoy some fun, right? What's up? Galen Globe Kenwood from Tacoma, Washington. Good old the Northwest is always good to see people from. So let me bring that down. There we go. All right. So yeah, so you know what was really good about this movie was I didn't have to think. It was just awesome in that sense that I was like, look, just get to the Godzilla versus, Kong. Let's get ready to. I can't go any further because there's a copyright on that phrase. But you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You wanted action. They proved it right. There was some kind of it's so funny. I'm not going to spoil it, but there was these kind of scientific principles that went back old school in a sense, I guess you could say. Am I Team Kong or Team Godzilla? Look, if you're going to do like history, like OG monsters, like Kong was the first to come out. And then there's just, the Kaiju kind of mythology. And of course, the political reasons behind why Godzilla was created. And then, and just seeing all those great Godzilla movies. And then it was just like Godzilla was like the Mike Tyson of monsters where everybody wanted to challenge Godzilla. And then there was this slew of Godzilla movies back from, they were repeats by the time I saw them as a child. But, back when they started to dress a guy up, zip him up in that, I forget the gentleman's name, who was a very famous Japanese actor who was Godzilla for many years. But it's you gotta hand it, man. They had better writing. Kong was just, taken from some supposedly island, Skull Island, where the natives worshipped him and sacrificed humans to him, and and then he was taken to New York City as a showpiece, and that was it. And don't get me wrong, I love the I think it was 77 version or 76 version of King Kong, where he climbed the Twin Towers, Jessica Lange, and what's his name? But when it comes to like who's badass, I want to say Godzilla. He's a radioactive kaiju. You know what I mean? He's a radioactive lizard that shoots, radioactive flames, or in this case, it was like the Death Star beam coming out of his mouth. So, you got to think of like who's more badass. It's got to be Godzilla. But then the sapien in me and all of you, you can't help but want to root for Kong because he's, we share somewhat of a DNA, I would think. So there's that part of it where you see, you look in Godzilla's eyes, you don't get that, oh, I care for you. I feel for you. I get you. You complete me. But with Kong, he's got that sapient type of look, right? And so you think, well, you look into those ape eyes of his and you see that there's something going on in there and stuff like that. So it's you want to go for, but to be honest with you, overall skill, the ability to swim. I mean, shoot, look, I don't know how many out there has already seen it or not, or who hasn't seen it yet. But there's some scenes where, yo, Kong should have been done. It's just end of story. A few times, not just one time, like a few times. And then there's another spoiler. I'm not even going to get into that. But overall, it was a ludicrous, silly plot. But I'm not going to Godzilla versus Kong for a deep intellectual kind of plot point. Like I said, I wanted to see Rampage on screen in 4K. In my case, it was 4K. I know some people I saw who commented on my Twitter, they're going to see it in IMAX. I can imagine what that's going to look like. I mean, kudos to those who are all going. First of all, kudos to the states that are allowing, with social distancing and safe cleaning practices, and fans being able to, watch movies with face masks and being grouped together from the same family. That's a huge step forward. Congratulations on the industry for that. I saw it on HBO Max here at my house. I was fine with that, but I can imagine what this is going to look like if you're going to watch this in IMAX as these buildings are coming down, and you're seeing Godzilla shooting flames and King Kong playing Nintendo Punch Out. It's going to be fun, so enjoy it when you go see it. So let's see we have some people here. You can rent the entire theater for $150. That's right, Trey Mock. There are some smaller some actually big theaters that you can rent an entire theater for $150, and I think you can have up to whatever the percentage is. You can bring them in, and it's not just for movies that are being shown. If you order ahead of time, they can go to their distributors and get prints of other movies. If you want to watch Clerks or whatever, you can go and order it. Yeah, see, some are like 30 people, some are like 20. It's almost like having, well, we're going to do a birthday party at the movie theater and then watch some great movies. So things like that. So check with your local theaters. They're hurting, especially the independent theaters who do a lot of, independent film screenings and foreign films and stuff like that. They definitely need your dollars. We all do. Good question. You get what you pay for. Jody, you're correct. You get what you pay for. It comes with my HBO subscription. So I don't know how that works. Like, I don't know how much Warner Brothers sold their entire collection to HBO or whatever. It'll be interesting because in the beginning of this, when that first happened, I was like, hey man, the studio has the right to do what they wish with these films. If they want to dual release it, it's up to them. And then I thought about it and thought about how it hurts the actual anybody who has some sort of equity in the film, any points in the film, any things like that, where they don't get the money that a theatrical release usually affords them for bigger movies. Of course, smaller movies, this I don't think really changes much, because it's usually a separate distribution company who distributes your film, theatrically in theaters. They take on that risk and the cost if they're going to put out a 35, 70 millimeter print, whatever have you. So, yeah. And of course, yeah, Warner does own HBO, correct. But there has to be some sort of fee, because I saw that last I read, Kong in a couple of days made like 6.9 million in box office or something like that. And I guess that's actual theaters. I don't think that there's no box office from HBO, even though box office is in their name. Does that count? I don't know. I don't know. Home box office. Everybody wins. You just get to see it. We'll see what happens about that. Someone's asking, how about the Super Justice League cut? Master McDuff, last week I talked about that. So if you want to catch my opinions on that, we went like a good old hour discussing that, the JLL cut. So you want to find out more of the Snyder cut, watch last week's show. I ranted about that. I liked it. I liked the extra content that they put in it. Zach has a different look on the DC universe, his different take on it. How many versions of Spider-Man have there been? How many versions of Batman have there been? I liked, this was the kind of the first attempt at a live action amassing together, kind of like what Kevin Feige did for Marvel, trying to do the independent stories to come together for their Avengers type movie, being Justice League this time. And I think Zach did a good job. I think he did a great, who am I to say? I'm not a director, but as a fan, I enjoyed it. Kevin had talked about it last week as well on his podcast with Mark Burden and Bernadette, excuse me, and said, hey man, he gives Zach a couple of million a year to pump out another story in this world, another film in this world, and for HBO Max, one a year, and we'd be happy with that, and I'd be happy with that too. I don't see why not. So that's what I thought of the JLA cut. Someone here, Punk Rocks Vox, says, I liked Kong Skull Island more than I liked Godzilla versus Kong. Now, to be fully transparent, I didn't see Kong Skull Island. I can access that as well on HBO Max, which I may. So probably because I don't know if Kong Skull Island was the origin story of Kong, or is it just him kicking the shit out of monsters on his own island as they then capture him, I assume. So if it is, that's what it was. So we'll see. There we go. We have another fan of it. Skull Island, excellent film. So underrated. It was great. Skull Island was surprisingly good. Haven't seen Versus yet, though. All right. There you go. It was Kong versus Skull Walkers. All right. Well, there we go. Mississippi Tom says, yes, Skull Island equals fun. Well, this movie was fun as well. It was fun. It was, like I said, it was a CGI palooza of incredible quality. Some of the best CGI of, creatures fighting other creatures. I didn't see the sequel to Pacific Rim. I saw the original Pacific Rim, didn't see the sequel, or I think there's an animated film of Pacific Rim on Netflix when I skimmed through my Netflix. This had that feel to it. This Kong versus Godzilla had a feel of Pacific Rim. There are other reasons why. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. But it definitely didn't have, Del Toro's. It'd be interesting to see Guillermo del Toro direct a Kong movie. I think it would be good. Alan says Pacific Rim was better CGI. Number 2 was iffy, and Pacific Rim the Black is on Netflix. Yes, that's it. Pacific Rim the Black on Netflix. So Cleve Hall passed away a few days ago, aka Monster Man on Sci-Fi. He played Godzilla in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So sorry to hear about that. But that was a funny scene in Pee-wee's Big Adventure as he crashes through all the movie lot sets. I think Kevin stole that for Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back when Jay and Bob crashed through multiple sets. So nice throwback there. So what else going on? What else is going on in the world? So I'm looking forward. I'm hearing more and more about Clerks 3. Got another call yesterday on it. I have a call next week on it. We're hoping to go a June, July kind of film time. We shall see. Fingers crossed. I'm on draft number 4. And I don't mean beer. I mean scripts. I'm reading draft number 4 from Kevin. It's going to be a fun ride. I know that. It's going to be, the goal is to shoot in Jersey at the actual store. So that'll be kind of weird. April 1st was the anniversary of when we started shooting Clerks 28 years ago, I think it is. Crazy that I can say 28 years ago. And this movie right here still gets discussed. And I still get people
Not even supposed to be here today.
saying that to me all the time, or
In a row?
or that, or
Are you calling me a liar?
things like that. I'm not calling you a liar, sir. I'm just saying people enjoy the film, and I enjoy hearing about it as well. So I'm glad people are gearing up for it. I know that it should be a lot of fun. There's some returnings of some characters that people are going to enjoy. Hopefully, it's not a Kong versus Godzilla CGI special effects movie, so it shouldn't take too long to edit and put together and get a soundtrack together and slap it up there and have it released. And I think Kevin's plan is to release it, roadshow wise, like we did with Jay and Silent Bob a reboot. So we'll see. Clerks was okay, but O'HalloRANT was the bomb in The Happening. Okay. You're cut off, sir. You've had too much to drink. The Happening, yeah, it was an interesting film. It was I loved working with M. Night Shyamalan and John Leguizamo, especially in that movie. But I was just pretty much a driver there. No Iron Bob again? Spoilers. I can't spoil it for you, sir. Let's just put it that way. Today, I refuse to go outside because I'm scared of the wind. The Happening. See? To this day, he's scared of the wind from The Happening. Yeah, that was... I didn't know what that movie was about, literally. Literally, M. Night Shyamalan just gives you your pages of the scene that you were in. You don't get to read the script. You don't know what's it about. So I didn't know what it was about until literally I was at the premiere. We were in Valley Forge at the multiplex in Valley Forge, PA. And I was like, okay, is this supposed to be a comedy? Or you have such great people in this. What do you... Yeah, it is what it is. Someone is saying, please, no Kinky Kelly scene for Clerks 3. Yeah, that's going to be, if you thought it was a tight fit at the movies, it would be a very, very tight fit. No pun intended. To get a donkey in that store or even the video store. So, for that matter. Wow, that's so wild. So they just asked folks to be in a movie and provide no info. That's it. Is that normal? No, that's not normal. But I mean, I was a supporting, a day player character. I wasn't, I'm Zoe Deschanel and Wahlberg and John Leguizamo and, all these other actors. They were told and they were given the scripts and stuff. But for the most part, everybody else is like, yeah, no. You have a favorite project or something you're most proud of? Mr. Bertram Wong, thank you for joining us. You know, they're all very special to me. I mean, I'm very proud of the original Clerks in the sense that it was a surprise in the sense how people responded to it, how people embraced this type of comedy that we didn't quite necessarily see in films at that time. Um, so you know that one I'm very proud of. I mean, I'm very proud of a movie called Vulgar, written by Brian Johnson. It is a very, very, very dark comedy. It is not for the faint of heart. It's about a young man that I play named Will Carlson, who is a party clown for kids. Your traditional, hey, my kid is turning 6. We'd like to have a clown at the party. Could you do it? And I played a party clown named Flappy. Not making enough money, has a mother in an assisted living facility where he has to do her copay and stuff like that. He's not making enough money to pay for his own rent of his studio apartment, and also his mother's copay for this assisted living facility. So he decides to come up with an idea of being a clown for adults called Vulgar. His first gig goes horribly wrong, and you see the rest of the movie. You see the circumstances that have happened due to the events that happened. So that's a movie that hits dark notes, very dark notes for my character. It's a struggle to watch for some people, I've been told, and I don't mean because it's like, oh, it's horribly done. It's just, no, there's some issues in the film that are just incredibly dark. And my good friend Scott Schiaffo, who's watching here, is in it as well. And that one I'm very proud of as well. There's 2 versions of it: the unrated version, which is the theatrical release, and then the rated R version. When we wanted to get copies into what was called a Blockbuster, a video rental store. Kids, ask your grandparents about video rentals, and it's not off of Amazon. You actually had to leave the house with an actual DVD to return it after you were done. And even before that, there were these things called VHS tapes, which you had to be kind and please rewind when you were done, or you were getting like a 50 cents or $1 charge for. Those were the days when you wanted to see a movie that just came out on video, but you didn't want to leave your house to do it. So, and there are some of those that are still around, which is great. Whenever I go to smaller towns or even larger cities for that matter, and usually someone will say, hey, have you been to such and such video? There's one in town. There's still a video store that does video rentals. Because, unbeknownst to a lot of people, like a lot of films that came out on VHS, they've never been reproduced. It costs money to reproduce and to kind of digitally port them over to DVD, or even to port them to have them digitized so they could be streaming for that matter. So there's a lot of really like underground kind of films that are out there that only went as far as VHS format. And so there are a lot of collectors out there who will just collect VHSs of rare films because that's the last tangent of seeing these movies. I'm hoping that the American, AFI, American Institute of Film, collects all these things. I hope they have like some sort of vault that brings a lot of these kind of independent, kind of unknown, rare films. Big Choice Video. There you go. Big Choice Video. That's the good video store in the Viewisk universe was always Big Choice Video. There we go. Adult movies back then were in brown cases. He. Yeah, depending on which place you went to, but they were always separate. They were always in a separate room in the back where it said you have to be over 18 or you adults only. And it's usually some either cheesy, like swinging doors, like a saloon from a Western, or it was like beaded curtains or just an actual curtain. or it was a book. Or how do I know all this? I don't know. I didn't rent them. I was research for Clerks to know what video store procedure was.
Are you calling me a liar?
No, I'm not calling you a liar. I'm just saying that's what I think it was. Anyway, so yeah, that's got to be weird though. Still, going up to the counter, going, "Yes, I'd like this video, please." Because kids, what you would do is you would go to the shelf. And I'm not talking about the adult section. I'm just talking about in general. You'd go to a shelf, find a movie you liked, and it was just the sleeve, the cover of the box of the movie you wanted. Or some places they just cut the cover itself, and you'd bring it up to the clerk, and then they'd go back and hand it to you. That was a more secure way. I know in the beginning, Blockbuster actually had the actual tapes in the actual cases on the actual shelves. And that's how you knew if there was a tape available. It's available for rent. But yeah. And then God help you if you didn't bring it back on time. If you ran late. I mean, Blockbuster was cool because they had some of them, not all of them, had the exterior like night slot where you could just dump it in at any point, or even during the day. You dump it through it was almost like one of those old, mailbox or mail slot that you'd have in a door at your house, and just drop the tape in. And those were always fun. Here's a question. What do we got here? My in-laws had a 12,000 square foot video store that outlived Blockbuster and Redbacks. They were in a neighborhood they were the neighborhood place that closed a few years ago. Mr. Bertrand Wang, I did not know this. Wow. That is pretty cool. And I bet you when they finally decided to close up shop, that they probably sold every video in there and every DVD, since they only closed recently. So every DVD as well, because people want to collect that stuff. Because I've seen that too, where I've had fans come to conventions and bring that Blockbuster label on it, open up the case, and there's the copy of Clerks that they bought, or Mallrats, or Chasing Amy, or Dogma, or wherever. And they were like, here. And I was like, whoa, someone's going to have a lot of late fees. And they were like, no. When the Blockbuster in the neighborhood closed down, they sold their stock, and I bought it from them. I was like, oh, right on. Here's one. Growing up in South River, my go-to rental place was Video Vault on Route 18 in East Brunswick, next to Magnifico's Ice Cream. I know that place exactly. I know Video Vault. They had a really good selection. Whoever was their buyer, their person who curated their collection, they had a really good amount of hard to find videos as well. Like independent films and films that were only released in Europe. So, and Magnifico's Ice Cream and Ices, that's like a bonus. You can go pick up your video and then pick up some ices, head on home, get your sugar rush on with your ice, and watch your movie. But look, I'm not going to lie. I love the streaming networks. I love, that on Netflix I have a selection of quite a few things, and Disney Plus is getting more and more stuff every day. If you're feeling like you want to watch something from the Star Wars, Marvel, Disney, you name it, selection of films, here it is right in your house, streaming at 4K or whatever, at a moment's notice. So it's good. Recently, I've been watching a lot of documentaries, a lot of like historical documentaries. I was watching on Netflix. There's a historical series called Empire Games, and they tackle the Roman Empire, Chinese First Dynasty, the Aztecs, the Celts, things like that. I think it's like a 6-episode series right now, the first season. So I finished that. I'm doing now The Lost Pirate Kingdom, about pirates and privateers in the Caribbean and all up the coast of the East Coast, and between the Spanish and the French and the Portuguese and the British, and the Pirates' Haven, which was Nassau, Nassau in the Bahamas. And there's still, you hear about all these sunken wrecks that to this day, never publicly have been discovered, of all this, gold and, relics and stuff like that. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun watching the pirates, the Lost Kingdom of Pirates on Netflix. It's I think I'm on episode 3 or 4. It's a six episode series, first season. It's been a lot of fun. And there's not, and what's funny is there is not a lot of arg me mateys. It's actually none of it. There's a lot of cursing, but there's no ye shiver me timbers. There's no walk the plank. But they do talk about the actual Blackbeard, the pirate. Actually, that was his nickname, obviously, but the famed pirate Blackbeard and Hornigold and a whole bunch of others. And so it's interesting. And the female, there was a crazed Irish female pirate who was very, very cutthroat, but also very, very clever in her ways of pirating. I just watched all of the 80s Punky and the Reboot and watched, there was a 90s. You mean the Punky Brewster reboot? Is that what we're talking about? And Ewoks. Well, there we go. Punky Brewster reboot. Yep. How is Soleil Moonfry doing? Punky Brewster I was older, so by then, didn't need to watch Punky Brewster. Since you've been watching a lot of history documentaries, is there a time period you would love to play character in? Listen, any type of fantasy kind of stuff, is always good. Medieval is always, it's easy. Look, I am not Chuck Handsome. So putting me in the medieval world, you'd be like, oh, he totally is suffering from the Black Death. Look at him, or he's got the scurvy, or, oh my God, he's totally a leper. No, but something like that would be fun. I wouldn't be able to pull off like, early Rome, although, put a British accent on. It seems like back in the day, if you had a British accent, you could be a part of any dynasty, including being a female ancient one in a Marvel movie. You could have an English accent, be a woman, and still try to pull off an Asian old wizened male. Sorry. It's like one of the worst castings ever. Don't get me wrong. Love Tilda Swinton. Love everything she's done. But come on, Marvel. You fucked up on that one. That was just, what? All right. I digress. But out of all, I love pretty much all the Marvel movies I love. But Tilda Swinton, the ancient one, really? Really? Like, how does Benedict Wong go? Okay, so who do we have coming in then? Who am I playing opposite? Who? Like, why didn't they just make Benedict Wong the ancient one? I don't know. That's just me. Anyway, I digress. Yes. Race-bending Marvel. That's true. That's true. Well, look, whatever. Just silly. So, where was I? Didn't even remember what I was doing. I went off on a oh, right. What roles, what time period? Look, I would love to do, like I said, fantasy is always great. Put me in a Marvel movie. That's fun. Obviously it's not a time period, especially if it's a Doctor Strange movie, then there's time is relative. Put me in a Star Wars one, that's fine. Put me in Star Trek. And trust me, I have a lot of beefs with like that first J.J. Abrams Star Trek and Red Matter. Like, what? Time travel? Again? Star Trek, man. New Star Trek movies when they were time traveling. If time traveling was so easy and Spock came up with red matter, I apologize for those who've heard me go off about red matter and time travel in the Star Trek world. But leave the time travel sci-fi show to the time travel sci-fi show. It's called Doctor Who. Okay? They've like been doing it since I forget when Doctor Who started. Mid-60s? They're Doctor Who. Let them do time travel. Don't need red matter. Because if that's the case, then you could just red matter yourself all through history. Now, obviously, Spock figured it out. So there is got to be some formula in some computer bank somewhere. Unless it was on the planet Vulcan, in which it went down with the planet when it was destroyed. But whatever. It is what it is. Just wasn't a big fan of it. Of that aspect of the film. Loved the film, loved the casting, loved what the Abrams and all those guys have done. Especially then when he went on to then go on to reboot the Star Wars franchises, which I love. I had issues with even those as well, but who doesn't? Listen, you're not a nerd in a sense of if you don't have some sort of disagreement in the makeup of Star Wars or Star Trek or what have you. That's what we do. We can nerd, we can nerd obsess over science minutia, or at least I do. Which that's what always gets me. It's like, all right, let me throw my realism and put my world of disbelief here. Okay. Let's just go with what you're giving me. But then when just some basic physics and stuff, I'm just like, oh, come on. We could do better. We could totally do better.
What the fuck are you bitches babbling about?
Exactly. Am I right, Jay? Exactly. Sometimes you're watching a movie and what are they talking about? And then it just pulls you out. Here we go. What do we have here? Larry Lane says, so I've never watched much Star Trek, but I wanted to dive in. I was going to start with the first show and work my way up. Is there any shows or movies I should skip? Larry, no, don't skip them. Why? Because it'll make you appreciate when you come across the good ones, right? Like for the movies of the original cast, come on, man, you can't get any better than Wrath of Khan. Hands down. Whenever I see that on TV, I could watch that Wrath of Khan again and again and again. And the other ones are good, but nothing will beat Wrath of Khan when it comes to the Star Trek movies. I haven't I didn't watch all of the TV shows, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and all the rest of them. You guys know what they are. But I watched some of the episodes, especially New Generation and stuff like that, when it first came out, because ooh, here we go. Star Trek show that we haven't had in many, many years. And the Picard, I haven't seen any of the new series that's streaming Picard. And then the movies with the Next Generation cast and Picard, there are some really good ones there as well. They expanded, the New Generation expanded the universe of Star Trek to many different races and many different, empires and, the Borg and everything else for that matter. So, um, yeah, I mean, I guess, you could go through the original series. I mean, it was only 3 years, so you can go through the original series episodes pretty quickly. Um, then move your way up to the Star Trek the movie. Not their strongest attempt at a movie. Not gonna lie. The sets were a little. Um, then Wrath of Khan. Mwah. Magnifique. Ricardo Montalban. Such a great villain. And what a great way to do it, too. Here it was. You took a villain from one of the great episodes of the TV series, made him the villain. Oh, spoiler alert. That's right. You're trying to find out which ones to start. So anyway, when Ricardo Montalban is in the TV series, the original TV series, watch that episode and pay attention because it comes back in Wrath of Khan. I mean, his name is in the title, Khan. So anyway, great, hands down best Star Trek movie. Changed my mind. Then Star Trek Save the Whales, correct. Then Final Frontier, Star Trek meets God. You gotta say that, Wow, Treyma, Khan was the first movie in a theater with your dad. Right on, brother. That's a great way to bust into going to see a movie with your dad. Great movie. Especially since, spoiler alert, Captain Kirk's son is in it. So it's a good father-son kind of movie. Anyway. Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, Voyage Home, basically a trilogy. Yeah, it all follows through. You're absolutely right. It all follows through. That's pretty much a trilogy. It's a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor in those movies. Not so much a Star Trek fan. The reboot films were quite good. True. Mr. Mike Sparrow, good to see you as well. Mr. Bertrand Wong, Khan is the best. It's true. And that gentleman would know we would watch that movie together a lot. So Khan was definitely the man to definitely the best Star Trek movie over there. So we'll see where they go with this. I know, I think they're planning more movies. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be under the same kind of J.J. Abrams umbrella of world universe version of it. Switching topics now. Tim Dedios asks, have you been to the Garden for a Rangers game since they've let fans in? If not, will you go while there's still COVID concerns or wait until it gets under control? I have not, Tim, been to the Garden since they've allowed fans in. I haven't gotten my vaccine yet. And so I'm trying to keep my exposure to a minimum. It's got to feel really weird, going in, and being so distant. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love the fact that I don't have someone right up against me, which even in non-COVID times, the seating at the Garden, even though it's been remodeled and stuff like that, you're still right up against each other. It is not. I wish they went more with kind of movie seating. And, I put it on me. I'm an extra large kind of guy in that sense. But it's just got to be weird watching a game. I guess it would be like watching a, AHL kind of crowd where, you sit where it's like sit where you want kind of general seating kind of thing, even though they, I think you have to either show that you've had a negative test or show that you've been vaccinated at least once. So we'll see. I was down in Florida a couple of weeks ago with Marilyn Gigliotti for a one-day Comic-Con. But we were really spaced out. They gave everybody really a lot of room. We wore masks, hand sanitizer. It was, it was all over. We had plenty of that. And it was a one-day thing. So that was my first venture on a plane. Prior to that, I hadn't been on a plane since like March 2nd, returning from GalaxyCon Richmond of last year. So, and Florida of all places. But overall, it was good. When I came home, we have a bedroom off our rec room downstairs. So I stayed there. I slept there for a week and kind of kept my distance from Diane just to be safe. Fortunately, everything's fine. Diane's gotten both of her shots now. She had her second dose this past Tuesday. Not this Tuesday, the Tuesday prior. So she's good. So I don't have to worry about that. I'm hoping within a week or two, I get into the eligible category phase here in the great state of Pennsylvania. And then in 2 weeks, I'll be down in the Mississippi Way, where I'm going to be hosting. So a friend of mine has a daughter who has a very rare condition. And so in 2 weeks, I'll be down for to MC the Zebra Run, the 4th annual Zebra Run for the multiple sulfatase deficiency. And that is happening on Saturday, April 17th at Fort Maurepas Park in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Why they call it a zebra run? It's a zebra run because you can put, face makeup on you to look like a zebra, put on a zebra onesie or pajamas, just wear something black and white. And it's a fun run, 1 mile, 5K, raising money for this rare disease called multiple sulfatase deficiency. You can go to supportmsd.org for more information. So they have me emceeing the start of the race and I guess handing out awards to people who finish in certain categories, I guess. But while I'm down there for that Saturday, the Friday before it and the Saturday afternoon, the Saturday evening, and then the Sunday, I'm going to be at 2 different comic book shops. One in Ocean Springs called 3 Alarm Comics. And then the other would be Gamers and Geeks. And I believe that's in Biloxi. So that'll be that weekend of the 17th. So 16th, 17th, and 18th in the Ocean Springs and Biloxi, Mississippi area. Follow me on actually, let me give you the better one. Follow me on these channels and Twitter and Instagram to where I'll be posting more information about the appearance down in Mississippi the weekend of April 16th, 17th, and 18th. Or you could follow me. Those addresses right above my head. Brian C. O'HalloRANT on Instagram, Twitter, and the Brian C. O'HalloRANT on Facebook. But it's to support a cause that I've been trying to help support for the past 4 or 5 years now. And the good folks, Tom and Amber and their child Willow, have been, the mother is basically started years ago from the ground up with the help of other parents and who've had this affliction to their kids around the world. It's so rare. There's very rare amount of kids with this affliction, and raised money to get research done at different facilities around the world to then collate it all together and to get it out there. So if you get a chance, go to cureMSD.org for more information. They're good people, family are great, and the people and the kids around the world and the families who are also struggling with trying to find treatment and cures for this is kind of tough. It's very tough to raise money for rare diseases. And Tom and his wife have been, and the families around the world who have been doing this, have been doing really great progress, but tests and different types of treatment tests and trials cost a lot of money for pharmaceutical companies and whatnot, if they even get involved to do so. So that's my announcement of where I'll be. I'll be down in the Ocean Springs, Biloxi area the weekend of the April 16th, 17th, and 18th. It'll be good to get down there, see my good friend Tom and his wife Amber, the guys over at 3 Alarm Comics, and Gamers and Geeks, which Gamers and Geeks is this place in Biloxi that's huge. It's an old supermarket that they took over, and it's like this giant area of gaming tables for table gaming, role-playing gaming, card gaming. I believe they even may have a small bowling alley in the place. And then there's the comic book shop and stuff like that, and pops and all sorts of stuff. And so it'll be fun to get down there. I know that there's a crawfish boil in my future while I'm down there, I'm sure, and some really good barbecue. There's a place in Ocean Springs or just outside of Ocean Springs called The Shed. If you're ever down in that area of Mississippi, you want to go to The Shed. It looks like the name almost, but it's huge. It's this huge hodgepodge of looks like ramshackle kind of building, but it's just an appearance outside. But it's fantastic barbecue. Fantastic barbecue. Actually, Gamers and Geeks, Gamers and Geeks is in Mobile. Pardon me, Tom. Mobile, Alabama, only 40 minutes from Biloxi. There we go. When I don't have it in front of me, I knew I was going to blow it. So there you go. Gamers and Geeks in Mobile. Not mobile. Mobile. Alabama. Not Mississippi. So I'm going to be 2 states. Mississippi and Alabama. Hopefully I can get my vaccine before then. Just to have some sort of like, well, if I'm going to eat all these ribs, I need my mask off. Because I love me my barbecue. I'm not going to lie. And it is true. The trusted driver will get where I need to get. It's true. Fully armed, too, I believe. Fully armed. Well, folks, I've kept you guys long enough on your Good Friday, Easter weekend. If you celebrate Easter, happy Easter. If you have kids who you celebrate with, do Easter egg hunts. Those are always fun. Why rabbits that hide eggs? Celebrating the rising of Christ. I have no idea, but whatever. It is what it is. The original zombie, Jesus Christ, will be risen in this Sunday. Enjoy it if you get together with your family. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your Easter. Enjoy the service of the Easter Mass if you celebrate Easter Mass. If not, have a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Get at least a chocolate bunny, something. Those are always fun. I'd always start with the ears. We always started with the ears. Yeah. I love my Easter bunny ear. So enjoy your weekend, folks. I've had fun. I hope you've had fun. Hopefully, everybody signs up for their vaccine. There's plenty of them out there now. It's just a matter of the states getting it into people's arms. If you haven't seen Godzilla vs. Kong, it's worth a watch. I'll say that much. It's worth the watch. The fighting is extraordinary. The fact that it's CGI, for the most part, it's not a guy in a costume. I mean, it might have been a guy with the ping pong balls in his capture suit, like a video capture suit. That, I didn't check to see if Andy Serkis was in the credits to see if he played Kong. But it's well done. The plot is thin, tissue paper thin. Some of the plot devices are kind of silly, but it is what it is. Look, when you went to those monster movies back in the 50s, for those who were around the 50s, obviously I was never born, but it's that kind of fun. You're going to go, have some fun, make some popcorn, or buy some popcorn. If you're going to a theater, have some fun, buy some concessions. That's where the movie theater owners really make their money. And enjoy the movie. If you're seeing it in IMAX, holy crap, bro. Good for you. That's got to be an experience, seeing that in IMAX. So, it should be a fun one. Thank you all who came out. Mr. Mississippi Tom, thank you so much. Chihiro AE21, thank you. I know I'm leaving. You just joined the stream and I'm leaving. Rome77, thank you so much. Mr. Frischetti, thank you so much. Frischetti Photo People, that's the guy you want to see if you're up in the New England area, especially. He's an amazing photographer, especially for live events. Gem Girl 1975, happy Easter to you too as well. The folks over at Mad Brothers Media, peace and love to you as well. Happy Easter. Backward Bloom 80, thank you so much for joining us. Larry Lane, thank you for your questions and thank you for joining as well. Punk Rock Vox, thank you so much. Happy Easter to you as well. CJ Robles, thank you so much. Captain Mike Sparrow, thank you so much. What else we got? Riff 303, thank you for joining us. Gem Girl 1975, thank you. Mr. Scott Meany, always good to see you as well. Scott Schiaffo, brother, thank you so much for joining me this time as well. Backward Bloom 80, I think I said you already. Trey Mock, thank you so much as well. Master McDuff, Mr. Bertrand Wong, good. Thank you so much for joining and watching the show. Danger Girl, Amy AC, have a happy Easter. Give my best to your Danny. Cosmic Rays, WDW2, happy Easter to you as well. Let's see, Room 77, good to see you. Happy Easter as well. Rome 77 and Riff 303. Who did I miss? Tim Daddio, thank you so much for joining us as well. L. Werner 9, thank you for joining us as well. We'll hope to see you next week. I may have more information about what's going on. Yells Maw 97, brother, thank you for joining as well. And for those who were going to check out the Star Trek movie, I forget who it was like, which ones to start with. Have fun watching the Star Trek shows and the movies. It's always a lot of fun. It's an interesting world, to say the least. And plus, I'm wearing the Spock. You know what? I'll even go out that way, folks. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Stay your 6 feet apart. Take your time. Be patient with people. Everybody's a little on edge for a variety of reasons during this time. But we love you here. Thank you for making time for me. I love you guys. And in the words of the immortal Leonard Nimoy, who portrayed Mr. Spock, live long and prosper.